Let's take you back to Cape Town, South Africa, where the Secretary General of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, Haytham Al-Ghai, says that the group will further consider the global oil market conditions under its Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee, or JMMC, which meets on Wednesday. In an exclusive interview with the Arise business correspondent Bosin Omofaye today in Cape Town, South Africa, the OPEC chief also reveals Nigeria's and Africa's output under the current OPEC return of more than 2 million barrels and the global market, while the Minister of State for Petroleum, Lokpobiri, also disclosed a new investment announcement to be made soon in the Nigeria's oil sector.
Well, the JMMC is an advisory monitoring committee that is a sub-organ of the whole OPEC ministerial meeting. The JMMC does not make any decisions on production adjustments. It's a body that monitors the market conditions and monitors the compliance with the agreements that are in place. So the JMMC meets tomorrow, and as usual, the ministers will look into all the data, the presentations that we at the OPEC Secretariat will present to the ministers, and they will take note of these matters and see. For us in the OPEC Secretariat, you asked earlier on about how we see the market. We see the global economy robust and quite resilient, growing this year at 3.1% global GDP. We see oil demand year on year rising by 1.3 million barrels a day. And that's quite significantly a good levels of growth and healthy levels of growth, driven mainly by developing countries, non-OECD region. Most of that growth is in the non-OECD, India, China, Asia, Africa, Middle East. We see still good levels of demand for jet fuel, aviation fuel, because of strong summer traveling still ongoing. Actually, in many parts of the world, jet fuel demand is now reaching pre-pandemic levels, which is a very strong growth. Gasoline demand, we still see inventories declining on a weekly basis in the United States. So these are all signs of strong global oil demand growth. Well, African producers that are part of OPEC, we know we have 6 African countries part of OPEC, including, of course, Nigeria, one of our proud members. In fact, Nigeria is our largest African producer within the group of OPEC. And we work very closely with His Excellency Senator Heineken and the ministry and his colleagues and the NNPC. And of course, everybody now is regulating their production based on the existing arrangements for production adjustments. So it is not a matter of how much is the total for Africa versus others. It's a whole group arrangement. And of course, when we look at the wider OPEC Plus collaboration with OPEC Plus, which are the 10 producers that are non-OPEC members, also part of this whole agreement or whole alliance, that we have to make sure that there's always a stable market, and that the aim and objective of OPEC Plus is to make sure that there's always stability and equilibrium in the market between supply and demand levels.
Yeah, we're doing maybe about 1.7, 1.8 million barrels a day, which, as I said, is 80% increment from where this government started. And like I said, the extra is condensate. Condensate is higher crude. It's even sold for a higher price in the market. So we are not actually, producing beyond the OPEC quota. But we also have in the Petroleum Industry Act, domestic crude oil supply obligation. We have an obligation to supply the Dangote refinery, the other refineries, the crude that they need. And the only way we can do that is to increase the barrels. And barrels cannot be increased unless we have sustainable investment. That's why I'm also happy that, from the rig count, when we came, it was 14, now it's about 50 and counting, which means significant investment is being made in the sector. And, the way this oil, wells work is that every year there is a 10 to 20%, 10 to 15%, reduction. And so if you don't keep drilling to replenish, chances are that after a while, it will dry up. And that's why we're saying that, look, we need all the investments, but I don't want us to look outside alone. We want funding from the global north to complement funding that is available back home. If our pension fund managers are educated about the profitability of oil and gas investment, like the example I gave, I don't want to mention the name here. But you see, BP and Cosmos invested $8 billion in an African country for a gas project. $8 billion. In 25 years, the returns are 40 billion. No other business is more profitable than energy. And that's why I'm saying that, look, we are strongest member of OPEC from Africa. We're the leading producer of oil and gas in Africa from OPEC. And we will continue to remain in OPEC because we believe that we have to remain there, provide the leadership needed for Africa and continue to sustain, the growth, we are experiencing in the industry. NUPRC, have the records. They say, they just signed about 18 point something billion dollars of, field development plans. If you want to, expand an investment, you come with your field development plan. NUPRC gives approval. It's quantified. The barriers that are expected, how much money you're investing, 18 point something billion dollars. That is in addition to the other investments that are coming. We are rounding up one investment that will be between 10 to 20 billion dollars, and IOC is coming with that. We have HI coming. We have Bonga Southwest coming. We have a couple of investments coming. Investments won't come if there's no stability, in your sector. There has to be predictability. If I want to invest in Nigeria, and today I hear that, the rules that have convinced me to invest or to make that decision, I get a change, I will pause. And that is why we're saying that, look, what Nigeria is offering today is more stability. Whatever stories you hear, forget about it.